Welcome to another edition of the Spotlight here on Community Channel 6. I'm your host, Shere-Ann, and in the Spotlight we feature two guests from neighboring Barbados, and they're in Grenada, all part of the 3rd Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival. I'm speaking of Miss Cheryl Collimo. She is the Rum and Beer Festival Manager, and Mr. Glenn Williams, he's the Operations Manager of the Rum and Beer Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spotlight.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
Very interesting event. The Rum and Beer Festival is going to happen in Grenada. It's the 3rd of its kind. But before we get into the actual activity, it is important that we introduce both of you to the viewing audience. So, Ms. Collimo, if you could just give us a little background on Ms. Cheryl Collimo.
Okay, well, Cheryl Collimo is fundamentally an engineer, a manufacturing engineer. I've worked with Ford Motor Company and Jaguar in the UK. But 13 years ago, came to Barbados to set up a manufacturing consultancy with my colleague, Dr. Williams. And then during that time, we worked across the region of the Caribbean. We worked with some of the distilleries and the breweries, and you can see where this is leading. Yeah, sort of got very interested, and that's how it's kind of flown and knits together. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, Mr. Williams?
Well, very similar to Cheryl, basically. I'm an engineer too, and worked with Unilever and some of the large companies over in Europe. But also for a number of years I was an academic with the University of Birmingham and responsible for all manufacturing activities there. And Cheryl said, came over to the Caribbean, to Barbados in particular, and we set up a consultancy, which is one of our sponsoring companies for the Rum and Beer Festival, C&G International. And we were involved with manufacturing improvements and quality and food safety sort of engineering within many of the companies here. And as Cheryl said, this is where it's leading. We did a lot of work with the OECS and the distilleries and the breweries in the region. And on one occasion we were working with Clark's Court over at Woodlands, and we were really concerned with the manufacturing development plans, etc. there. And it was on one occasion, on one of the last projects that we did there, we were in the boardroom, and what came up was a conversation that was centered around the fact that it's very difficult to get the product that they had sort of presented to a wider audience than just Grenada. So we came away and thought, well, perhaps we can do something for the products in the region, both the rums, not just here, but all around the region, and the beers all around the region. And we said, well, let's put on a Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival. Completely naive at the time, because as we said, we're engineers and not marketing people or anything like that. So we put on the first one in 2010 over in Barbados, and it was a nice setting because we were also working with there's a sugar factory over there, so the setting was quite nice. It was in the cane receiving yard of a sugar factory, and that went very well. And it was it was both a festival, a convivial atmosphere, a little bit like a upmarket rum shop type of thing, and also it was also a business type of thing as well, where some buyers came over, and that seemed to go well. Second year, last year, was in Barbados again, and both of them went a lot better last year, and both of them then gave us the confidence to bring it out to the Caribbean, since it's called the Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival. Grenada showed tremendous amount of interest. Grenada Board of Tourism showed tremendous amount of interest, and so we sort of brought the Rum and Beer Festival back home to Grenada from where it started.
Because two things I want to ask. I realized Ms. Collimo mentioned doctor. Doctor of?
Engineering production, actually. Pretty yeah. Most of the times I tend to drop the doctor word and just like to be called by my first name. So, but a doctor of engineering production.
Okay. So you were saying basically that the idea to have the Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival was born out of a board meeting in Grenada, the Grenada Distillers.
Yep. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And that put the interest there and sowed the seed for us to produce this Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival.
Okay. So some might ask, you have the Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival. There's rum from all over the region. How exactly is this done?
Wow.
Okay, how's it done? Well, basically, when we're looking to pull the festival together, once we've established where we're going to be and what dates we're going to be at, it's a case of inviting everybody and anybody from the region and beyond to come to the event. It's, we tell them that we're having this trade fair with a very large social element. It's about promotion. It's about getting your products out there. It's about having international visitors come and really sample your product in the sort of location, the home of rum. The Caribbean is the home of rum. So we know how to work with the product and get a really convivial atmosphere. So that's what we do. We invite, and then those people who wish to be a part of it will come, set up their stalls, and provide samples for the people.
So how many booths are we looking at?
We're probably going to have, because we're at the Cultural and Youth Centre, so inside we're probably going to have about 12 booths, and then outside we'll have a mixture of about another 6 booths. Some of those will be beverages, some of those will be food, some will be artists. It's a really nice mixture.
Okay. And it's a festival, but or is it a competition?
Okay, there certainly is a competitive element to it, in that this is the 3rd year now that we're having something called the Caribbean Alcohol Beverage Awards, the CAB Awards as we call it, and that involves a group of 16 international expert judges coming into Grenada to sample over 60 rums and over 30 beers, and really in this blind tasting test to just sample these products for their overall impression, their taste, their smell, all of those types of marvellous things, and judge them.
Which leads me to ask you this question. You said you have about 60 different rums.
Yes.
You have 16 judges.
Yes.
The tasting and the judging. Is it that 16 judge have to taste those 60 rums?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Those 16 judges have to taste those 60 rums, and they do it in stages, basically, because you'll have a white, you'll have an overproof, you'll have a dark, you'll have an aged, and so they'll do it in the various categories of
so
rums.
They would taste all the white.
They will taste
But
all
when
the
you,
white.
for instance, you here in Grenada,
Yes.
there's one called Rivers.
Yes.
Oh, yes. We're
You
aware of that
taste
one.
Rivers. How do you get Rivers out of your mouth to taste Flat Coat?
Good
Right.
question.
Well, one of the things is that they're very, very, very particular about, and we learnt this right at the very first rum tasting experience that we had. The best thing to get the taste out of your mouth is dry crackers or biscuits. No flavour to them, but completely dry, bland crackers or biscuits. Obviously with a little bit of water as well, but basically that is the one that takes the taste away from the mouth.
Absolutely.
And they're very, very pedantic about having these dry crackers or biscuits available.
It's the cleaning of the palate.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
So after each taste, they would have
yes.
the cracker.
Yeah.
Certainly between categories.
Between
for sure.
categories,
Okay.
Because as you said, if you're moving from a white rum to an overproof, or from an overproof to a brown, you really do need to refresh your palate.
And the judges are so professional and so expert at it that they know when they need to clean their palate as well.
Oh, absolutely, because they will have done dozens of different tastings all around the world. They are international renowned experts in their subject.
And they're coming in from where?
They're coming in from the UK, the US, Canada, and the region. The region.
And some of them also, apart from being judges, also write books and or journals or magazines.
On the same rum and taste.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
All about rums around the world, basically.
Yeah. They travel the world tasting rums. Can you imagine that?
Interesting. So you said they're coming from the other islands, apart from Barbados. Where else are we getting products in from for the festival?
Okay, at the festival, as I said, there's a mixture of exhibitors, then there's also a mixture of rums that are sent in for the event. So there'll be product from Dominica, product from Suriname, Belize, Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica. We've really got a nice mix going on. We've also got a product coming out of the Czech Republic as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're working in collaboration, apart from getting assistance from the Grenada Board of Tourism. Who else you're working in collaboration with to ensure that the third annual Rum and Beer Festival is indeed a success?
Well, fundamentally, the Grenada Board of Tourism have been our marketing partner. And also, as we got nearer, they also became the logistics assistance as well for on-site, on-island information. So they were excellent there. We've also had support from the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association. They have provided rooms for the judges whilst they are staying in Grenada. So that is a great assistance. We're working with, obviously, the rum companies, or the rum companies are on board. We're working with people as sponsors like Waggy Tea, he's part of it, the Spice Basket, part of it, First Impressions, Catamaran Cruises, Dab's Car Rentals. We've really got a broad kind of spectrum working with us, and that's how we're really mixing it to ensure that as many people as possible are a part of the event, and they're Grenadian companies, and that's a very important thing. When we're doing this in the host country, it's about using local facilities.
Okay. So, as strange as it may sound, what's in it for Grenada apart from the judges coming here and you have an opportunity to exhibit the different products?
I think exposure to a large extent, because whilst you, as you say, the judges coming here, etc., but we also have a number of hits from international visitors who are coming. Cheryl's probably got more of the figures than I have, but international visitors from the US and the UK who are coming in and have already signed up for tickets, etc. Mm-hmm. So that then taking that sort of message back to wherever they come from about Grenada and the experience they've had in Grenada. Yeah. We also hope that whilst they're here, they're not just going to go to the Rum and Beer Festival, they're going to go around St George's and do some shopping and see other things as well. And even going to the Spice Basket and other places like that takes them out of the immediate area and starts to push them out into Grenada, wider environs. So I think that from one point of view is a big positive at this moment in time to get more sort of interest in coming.
Yeah, and also this type of event attracts a certain type of writer, a certain type of...
Because I was going to ask you, because you mentioned some of them are writers, if you would have a write-up on the event after it's over.
Absolutely. In fact, I believe during the festival there are various media people from the US and the UK who will be here, and they're here because the Rum and Beer Festival is on this week, and also you've got the Nutmeg Festival.
Yes.
So these types of festivals bring people, it's like, suddenly you have a greater exposure. And so they say, well, that looks interesting. Rum always looks interesting. Beer always looks interesting. And food, that combination is something that people say, you know what, I'm a travel writer. I write about food and beverage. That's where I should be.
Okay. So your festival will run from the 2nd to the 3rd.
That's the main 2 days.
The main 2 days.
Yes.
So what sort of activities will unfold between the 2nd and the 3rd, apart from going and viewing the different exhibits and maybe tasting and so forth?
I think maybe, though, it's useful to start a little before that, because really we have outreach events, as it were, from today onwards, culminating in the festival on the 2nd and the 3rd. And today we start with the Clark's Court Distillery Tour, which is what do we call it? Connoisseur tour of Clark's Court and Westerhall and River Antoine later in the week as well. And the object of that is to make it a little bit more than just the normal sort of distillery tour that people might come up a cruise ship to go on. And it's something for people who are really interested in how rum is produced and what the process is, and they can ask questions of the experts in either Clark's Court or Westerhall or River Antron as well. And that kicks off today. Yes. And the people will be wandering around Clark's Court.
Okay, so
and then sorry, I was just going to say then it goes into evening time.
Yes, there's a sunset booze cruise from 4 o'clock until 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's the Monday activities. Tuesday, as you said, Tuesday we're actually having something called the Swig and Swing Golf Day, And that's happening obviously at the golf club from 7 o'clock in the
7
morning
o'clock in the
until
morning
4 o'clock in the
4 o'clock.
afternoon.
From that point of view, and Cheryl mentioned sponsors, the major sponsor there is Liat, and they're offering a prize for the winner of the men's and the women's, and then Clark's Court also for longest drive or the nearest to the pin, etc., on a couple of holes. And one of the things that we like to push out to the public is that it's still possible to get a tee time and book with the golf club, with Jeff Augustin at the golf club, and see if they can get a tee time. It's quite successful at the minute because we've got not only Grenadian golfers going, but we've got people from Barbados and people from the States and Canada who've also sort of booked. So it seems to be quite a popular event.
Okay, so for the event itself, as we see, it's Rum and Beer Festival. How secured would be that event? Because you have the young ones with the inquisitive minds, and you have tasting and so. So how secured would the actual 2 main days be in terms of young people moving in and out, or is it only a ticket-only event?
Yes.
Right,
yeah.
okay. How we're working that particular aspect of it is when you come onto the compound, you'll pay your ticket, which is $20 before 6 o'clock and $25 thereafter. For those that are eligible to sample the products, they'll get a bangle. Okay, so we'll put, and that then allows you to try samples throughout the festival. If you don't have a sample, if you don't have your wristband on, you can't have a sample, and that's the way that we ensure.
And strict rules.
Oh, we're very strict. You can't. We're very responsible and have to be when it comes to alcohol. And I think we have been for the last 2 years, and we're going to be consistent for this year.
So once you pay the entrance fee,
Yes.
you pay nothing else more than you just go about and just sample stuff.
Well, you might want to buy a bottle.
Oh,
or so.
so you
Opportunities always abound.
So we have, so let's speak about the different islands where the beers are coming from now.
Okay, with the beers, we're going to have beers from the Cayman Islands, beer from Barbados. Most people will think of the major brewery there, but no, it isn't Banks that we're having. So
something new coming to
something new, absolutely. Some beer from St. Vincent and some beer from the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And I think one of the things is, and Cheryl said something new, one of the things is from the Barbadian beer, then people should come and try it because it's a different type of beer. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but it has a strong connection with rum as well. So I'm not going to say anything more about it, but just come and try it.
Something different.
Something different.
Yeah.
So based on both of your background, is it that during this week or how long you're here, you'll be lending expert advice to the different maybe distillers that are a part of your program?
Well, that will come from the distillers themselves, basically, because we've got some seminar type of program on, which is on the Friday and Saturday, whereby we will get somebody from Westerhall, for instance, will give a chat about their rum. Somebody from the 10 Saints people will give a chat about their beer, etc. So that's a program of a really informative seminar which goes through Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, and also the judges themselves, the expert judges, they will be sure to visit the distilleries on the island, and there is some transfer of expertise and advice and a transfer that goes on during those visits. So they're quite useful for the distilleries.
Okay, so would you say that the festival is one of the major marketing tools for the rum and beer within the region?
It's certainly where it's going to grow into. I mean, that's the direction that it's going. And if we can become that, that very strong force for marketing, and, people know at a certain time of the year, you can come and find the Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival and find these range of products, then yes, we could become quite a tour de force in the marketing.
I think there's also a message there as well, because sometimes throughout everywhere people think of rum and spirits as just somebody going and drinking rum and spirits and just keep sort of drinking it, basically. But a lot of us don't know the extent to which the rum product goes up market until you go up to 15-year-old, 30-year-old, etc., etc. Yeah. And there isn't very often the opportunity to take a sample of those what I might call finer rums upmarket and experience what the different tastes are and the different smoothnesses.
So the finer rums are those that are aged?
Absolutely.
That tends to be the case, yes. You can find young rums that are, but it's an aging, it matures, like fine wine. It's a period of time that the mellowness and all the various chemical reactions occur, and plus it takes in from the barrels the various influences and becomes a much more complex product.
And of course, rum has become a popular drink in other parts of the world now. So it's again giving those people from the States and Europe the experience of the rums that we have here that might not be in the shelves over in the shops over there. The same thing happened with beers, because we tend to think of lager beer here and we tend to drink lager beer, but there's other beers, dark beers, porters and that sort of stuff, which people will be able to try as well.
Okay. So after you've wrapped up Grenada, are you thinking about the next island, the next step for the festival?
Well, we're always thinking about the next event. What we will do after the festival is we have the post-mortem. We look to see how things went and then give consideration to number 4.
So a team of how many of you will be here? Like from you as the organisers?
As the organisers, there's probably going to be about 6 of us.
Okay. And then you have the judges.
That's right.
You have the
Absolutely.
staff that's usually.
I think one of the things that's happened is that the judges actually naturally become part of the team because they've got as much experience at the Cab Awards as we have, if not more.
Right.
And so they become part of the team. And it's inclusive.
So is there any special thing to wrap it off on the final night? Any special events happening?
Well, there are some activities that will be happening on the Saturday. For instance, we're having a live performance by Sanika
McKee.
Yes, she's going to be there. And we're really looking forward to that. She's got a beautiful voice. And it will be nice, to give her that exposure across. And we're going to be making a video from the whole event. So all of that will be a part of it. We're also having on the last day the beer pong championship.
The beer what?
The beer pong championship. Well, you know about ping pong, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this is beer pong.
So tell us about that before we go out of time, because it sounds strange, but maybe interesting.
It is. Well, basically it's, if you can imagine a table tennis table, a table tennis table with 6 cups arranged in a V shape on each end and 2 people at each end. And if I'm standing at one end of the table, I have to try and get my ping pong ball in my opponent's cup, either by throwing it fast and hard, by lobbing it nice and gently, or by bouncing it in their half of the table and then into their cup. Once it goes into the cup, then remove that cup because I won it. And so it's the person who finishes with no cups on the table is the loser, and I would win.
Okay.
Yeah. I did it on the negative way round.
And the beer part comes in that every cup that you remove, then you get to try some beer.
Okay.
That's beer pong. It's kind of
so
massive.
You'll be getting to try a lot of beers.
Well, you could do, you could do. But obviously they're just like, small shots. We're very sensible on these things.
But it can get quite intense. There are rules, and
yes.
we're not experts at it by any stretch of the imagination. But there are also leagues and competitions in various places. So we
very
shall
big
see.
in America.
Yeah.
So all that would form part of the 2 main days.
The 2 main days, yes. Also, one of the things we're doing throughout the 2 days is we're having a charity raffle.
Oh, yeah.
Our charity this year is the Queen Elizabeth Home for Children.
Okay.
And during the days, there will be raffle tickets on sale, and that will culminate at 8:30 on the Saturday in the draw. And the winners will... The first prize is a beautiful original piece of artwork by an artist who will be actually at the festival, Bonnie Jordan. The second prize is 2 days at the True Blue Resort and a meal. And the third prize, surprisingly, is rum and beer.
Okay, so the artist is local? Or
She's based in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. she works with, because the sponsor for that is Business Grenada.
Okay.
And so they sponsored her to create this unique piece of art which reflects a piece of Grenada.
Okay. So is there any final thing you'd like to say about the third Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival?
Well, I think it's going to be exciting and interesting. We'd encourage as many people to come down and be a part of it and see what it's about. We've made sure that we've priced it very competitively so that it's open to everybody to come and enjoy. It's a great lime. We do these sort of things in the Caribbean very well. And so come, enjoy, learn something new, try something new, try the great food that Yvonne's going to be barbecuing up, plus the oil down that's going to be going on. Come, enjoy.
Anything final from you, Mr. Williams?
Well, from that description, my stomach is rumbling already. So I would concur with what Cheryl says wholeheartedly, and come down and enjoy it. Straight from work. And
so the day's activities will begin at 2 based on...
On the Friday, activities will begin at 3:45 when we have a short opening ceremony that we have the Tivoli drummers and dancers as a part of that, going through till 10 o'clock on the evening. And then on Saturday, we start at 2 o'clock, and we're going to have a session with the TAMCC culinary students who are going to be doing live cooking demonstrations with rum and beer again. Okay. And then we're going to move through until 10 o'clock with various activities ongoing.
Well, at this time, I'd like to thank you both for coming here on the Spotlight and sharing with us about the third Caribbean Rum and Beer Festival. I hope everything moves through smoothly. It is a success. And most importantly, that Grenada gets the mileage they so deserve.
Yeah. Indeed.
So that when you have the next one, I would hear of Grenada products moving over to the other islands. And just maybe, we just might win the top prize from the judges.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
Who knows? There's certainly a possibility.
So there you heard it, viewers. We're speaking here with Ms. Cheryl Collymore. She's the Rum and Beer Festival Manager, and Mr. Glenn Williams, Operations Manager of the Rum and Beer Festival. It's all happening at the Grenada Youth Center. That's from this Friday, November the 2nd, and climaxes on Saturday, November the 3rd. It's $20 before, $25 thereafter. And those of you at home, as you heard Ms. Collymore said, there will be bangles. So those who are not of the legal drinking age, you will not be able to sample the rum and beer products. And I am very happy to hear that. And on that note, thank you very much for viewing the Spotlight here on Community Channel 6.